short video, just going to do a quick overview of Cowork, which is part of the Frontier program that you have to be a member of the Frontier program to get access to these early AI features, these unbelievable AI features that Microsoft is releasing. So Cowork basically goes and does work for you. So you describe what you want it to do, you describe the assets you want it to create, and it will go and it will build a whole plan and execute against that plan to deliver what you've requested. So ahead of time, I've built a pretty detailed prompt. So like with anything else in AI, the prompt is critical. And the better your prompt, the better your output is going to be. So wanted to make something relevant here. So let me paste in my prompt. We can take a quick look at it here. So basically, I am asking Copilot to act as a consulting leader that is responsible for building a new service offering around Cowork, right? And the task for Cowork is to design a complete client-ready service offering. And I've told it the target market, I've told it what goals it needs to go execute against, and then I've given it specific instructions for the outputs that I want, which would be an overview of the service, an SOW. I also want a work breakdown structure, and I want some sales and go-to-market assets created, which would be a PDF overview of this service, as well as a PowerPoint presentation. So pretty descriptive, and kind of think of this as if you were talking to a human, maybe an assistant that you were going to have go off and do this work. That's essentially how you want to think of Copilot and kind of generally around AI. So let's go ahead and execute that, and then I'll pause the video and wait for the outputs, and we'll resume. So let's go ahead and kick it off. And what you'll see is that Cowork will go ahead and get started. It'll interpret the prompt that you've given it, and it will go off and it will start executing, building a plan around this and executing the plan. So I'll go ahead and pause the video here, and we'll resume after I have the outputs. Okay, that took about maybe 10 minutes to complete. So not a long time for the amount of information that I asked for. So you can see it goes through a whole bunch of steps here. It builds out, a whole plan. It executes against the plan, and ultimately ends up producing, the assets that you've asked for. So over here on the right, you can see the progress as it goes through what it's going through. If you have any inputs, files that you input, for example, they'll show up in the inputs. It also then has an outputs folder, and the outputs folder is where it creates all the assets that you've asked for. So let's just jump into these and take a look at what was created here. So, excuse me. So the first one I want to open is just the PDF overview that I've asked it to create for this service. So let's go ahead and launch that. And I am continually just beyond impressed, amazed might be a better way to describe it, at what it's able to produce. Now, keep in mind, too, that Copilot has Copilot IQ, which is constantly remembering who you are, what you do, the way that you work, things like that. So it's using that, right, in all areas of Copilot, which is really a powerful feature in Copilot in general. So it's layering, that into these as well. So if I just scroll through this, you can see that it created a name for it, which is Copilot Catalyst. Which is really interesting. It created some bylines here, and then just goes through kind of a whole executive summary about the service that I asked it to create, which is an enablement service around Copilot Cowork. So I won't spend a ton of time going through the details of the document, but you can see the document is very relevant. It's styled very nicely. If you build a brand profile in the platform, give it your logos, your colors, your fonts, things like that, it'll use all that as it creates these documents, which is great. So it created a really, really nice PDF here, all the way down to a call to action. So let's go ahead and close that out, come back here. Now let's go into the PowerPoint that it created. And I haven't looked at these yet, so we're doing this together, but created a really nice PowerPoint PDF, or I'm sorry, a PowerPoint presentation here that is really pretty ready. I find that I have to adjust very little, honestly, in the outputs. And it's all about your prompt, right? So if you have a really good prompt, then you have to do a lot less adjustments. If your prompt isn't so good, you probably have to, go back and do some adjustments. Now, the other thing that you can do is just tell Copilot what changes you want to make, right? So, hey, add a slide on this, or rebrand the PDF using this image and these colors. It'll go ahead and revise them for you. So you don't have to do that manually. But you'll see here, it created a really nice PowerPoint with some great information about this particular service, value propositions, the phases that we talked about, kind of the estimate, of hours, things like that, that I asked it to build with, again, calls to action here at the end, which is a 60-minute kind of briefing around this service. So let's go back over here. Let's now look at the work breakdown structure. And again, you saw the prompt that I used, so I didn't tell it anything very specific, right, about how to build a work breakdown structure, but it created an Excel file here with multiple tabs. So it gave a kind of README area of explanations about the work breakdown structure. It did a work breakdown structure by role with hours based on what I asked it to go and produce. It created a phase work breakdown structure by phase tab. It created a work breakdown structure by activity. It has an investment tab and some sizing variants that could be used in your go-to-market as well, and even an assumptions tab, all with very nice visuals to it. Very, very, very impressive. Continually am impressed at the outputs here. And then finally, it created a scope of work. Now, I will caution you that I would not take anything that AI is producing and just push it out, externally to market, right? You want to do the proper due diligence on all these, and I share things, get input from my team and colleagues and whatnot. But boy, it's just amazing what it's able to produce here. And actually, let me just download it and open it from a download, as it couldn't share it in line there. And here is our scope of work. So again, I'm not going to read this verbatim, but you can see it is a proper scope of work, and it knows scope of works that I've created in the past, and it knows the types of sections in that I include. It knows that I want project management, certain percentage of project management on my projects, things like that. But it went through each of the phases, outlined the objectives, put the main steps here that we're going to take in each of these. It has a deliverable section, deliverable summary, all the way down through duration, pipeline, assumptions. Again, it remembers a lot of this because I use Cowork and Copilot all day long. So the more you use it, the more you get out of it because of the IQ portion of the platform, right? So really, really, really good outputs, for example, that we did on a base use case here. Now, some of the numbers in that, I probably don't agree with. I saw some pretty large numbers in there, but I would go and adjust all that. Or I would go back to, and here, let me give you an example of that. So let's close this out. Let's go back to Copilot. Let's go back to our Cowork here, and I'll just have to refresh. And what I'm going to ask it to do is, I saw some really big numbers in there. So what I'm going to ask it to do now is just go and revamp all the materials based on a certain amount of hours or dollars that I want to take this to market with. So let's say revise the materials using a total, I could type, estimate of effort equal to, let's say, maybe something like, let me just do some quick math here, total of maybe 100 hours. So let's just do 100 hours. And I won't, again, bore you with watching it go and crunch away here to get the, the deliverables and all that updated. But trust me, it will go and it will update every one of those files. It will properly incorporate and base this all on, what I wanted here, which is 100 hours of total services that we would provide. And it would update all the files commensurately around that follow-on request. So if you haven't used Cowork, it's probably the number one. It is the number one thing that I am kind of getting on a soapbox and talking about these days in relation to AI. You do have to be part of the Frontier program at Microsoft, But bottom line is that my team of experts, my team of AI experts, can absolutely help you adopt these, tools. And we don't just go right to rolling out tools. We want to come in. We want to assess the high friction points in your business, and we draw parallels to the tooling, right? And then we go through a proper plan around rollout, adoption, training, and ongoing support around this. So reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about how we could help you adopt some of these groundbreaking tools that are being released in the platform. So thanks for your time. I hope this was a helpful video, and catch you on the next one.